Alright, you guys, it finally came.
So, I bought something incredible. You know how I got that 2008 Norco A-line? And it's got that Monster T fork on it, which I think is pretty sick. What you may not have known is it has a big brother.
The Supermonster T. Man, this is crazy.
I bought a 12-inch travel 2003 Marzocchi Supermonster, and it even came with a bike too. It's a 2001 Rocky Mountain RM9. Today we're going 20 years in the past.
Gazzoletti tire, look at that, isn't that sick? This thing is a legit 3-inch, 26-inch tire. Alright, what do you guys say we take a look at this fork? Oh boy. This thing is massive. Look how tall this thing is. Man, this is crazy. Wow. I actually have a Supermonster. This is freaking crazy. 300 millimeters of travel, open bath, moto cartridge, mucho grand suspension. Man, I'm so stoked on this.
I actually forgot that anything like this even existed until just a couple years ago, and ever since I knew I needed to get my hands on this thing. This is the kind of fork that freeride legends like Josh Bender would ride a lot. It's also the fork you'll see on a whole lot of crazy huck bikes, and there's some pretty unique looking bikes out there with this fork. So the problem here is that the fork is so long that it just slackens the crap out of any bike you put it on. There's not many bikes that were really made for it. Some carpial bikes were made for it, and those are really rare and hard to find. Not to mention that Supermonsters themselves are also really rare. I think I heard that they may have only ever made 400 of them. You can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not totally sure. And the weight comes in at 13.5 pounds with the stem on it. So here's the goal. I want to put together a bike that'll actually work with the Supermonster and produce a proper head tube angle, and also be strong enough to handle all my normal, typical riding, but with 12 inches of travel. Now, this RM9 was not made for this fork. It's gonna get pretty slack, but you know what? Let's just build it up and see what it's like.
All right, so it's time to build up the RM9 with the Supermonster. And I'm here today with my friend Wesley. He's behind the camera right now. We're going to build this up, and we're gonna actually see how it rides. So it's pretty exciting. RM9.
It actually looks cleaner than my Gloria I just bought.
The RM9 references 9 inches of rear travel. This is one of the cool things about these older bikes is they weren't afraid to go bigger with their suspension. Smaller 26-inch wheels and big suspension, that's my thing. Whereas modern bikes have been kind of going in the opposite direction, haven't they?
Yeah, that's like a dirt bike swing arm. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
The RM9 was Rocky Mountain's big downhill freeride bike at the time, just like my Maiden is their modern downhill freeride bike. This whole bike build is definitely not stock. It's supposed to have a regular 8-inch travel fork, but the previous owner was definitely having some fun with it. He's from Saskatchewan, which is flat as a pancake, and he literally said riding off of curbs was the most that he's done with this bike. It all seems like it's in good shape, so I'm quite happy with what I got.
Yeah,
It works.
yeah.
I've already been thinking a lot about what I want to put this fork on permanently ever since I bought this. In fact, I have been talking with someone already from Europe who's been playing around with Supermonsters a whole bunch. He's really knowledgeable, and he's helping me with a project that I think is totally going to work. More on that later, but that's a whole bike build project that's going to take lots of time and effort. So in the meantime, let's just get a good feel for this fork and just see what this is going to be like until we find something better to put it on.
See how heavy this thing is.
Watch like you fall over.
Okay. Look how high this thing is. Whoa, okay. We didn't tighten the handlebar, I forgot about that.
He used it as a chopper going around town, let's be honest.
Pretty much, yeah. It's all on the front end, all the weight. This is kilograms. 49.8 pounds.
49?
49.8 pounds.
It's lighter than the A-line?
What the heck? Dude, I like this. It's like sick. It's so sick.
Yeah. I'm scared to get in your way with that thing. It's a monster truck.
Dude, this is actually so sick.
The bike actually felt pretty big, but the reach was actually pretty short, as all old freeride bikes were. I haven't tried to measure the reach and stack height of this bike with the help of my dad. We were getting something about 325 millimeter reach and 625 stack height. Not exactly something you'd want on your new bike. The wheelbase is longer because that long fork extends the front wheel out. It's even longer than Wesley's modern Giant Glory.
It's longer by a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. The RM9 is longer, only because of the fork.
Can you fully bunny hop it? Oh, the rear wheel hardly got up. You're gonna be so ripped if you keep riding that. Nice.
Some quick first impressions. It's not actually as weird and awkward as I was afraid it might have been.
Actually feels good. This is gonna be impossible to bottom out.
I think so.
Like, look at, I'm gonna push as hard as I can. There's like 4 inches left. I'm only pushing like 8 inches down, which I think is a good thing.
That's all the travel on a normal downhill fork. So it's 12 inches in the front, 9 inches in the back.
It's a good feeling to it.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty stoked.
It's like actually pretty dialed too.
Yeah, I think it feels good.
So of course we're gonna take this thing out to some local trails here, but first I'm just gonna touch this thing up a little bit, clean it up a little bit, make sure it's looking its best. The build on this bike is pretty old school with some old Maxxis Mobster tires. Got the double wide rim on the front with the Gazzotti tire. It's got some old Hayes brakes, just dual piston. The nice Chrome Egg Fu 40 is a really nice touch though. So about that head tube angle, I measured it with my phone app, however accurate that is, but it was showing about 58.5 degrees. It just reminded me of Pink Bike's Grim Donut. That one was a 57-degree head angle. However, that bike isn't so high up like this one was. It's quite something. I'm not sure what to expect from this head angle, but we're about to find out firsthand.
Okay guys, there's something important I just discovered. But the front axle of this double wide rim is actually 115 millimeters wide, 115 by 20. And it's supposed to have a 110 by 20 axle. Put on this WTB I-35 asymmetrical rim. Looks pretty clean with the black and everything, looks pretty good. But yeah, it would have been cool to ride with the double wide, but now at least everything's functioning properly. So what do you say? Let's go for a ride.
We're out here at Ledgeview in Abbotsford, BC, and I couldn't wait to show my friends to get their thoughts on it.
It's like a horse, it's a steed. Wait.
I know.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. All right.
Let's pedal up.
I'm just gonna pedal up with my monster bike. So for some reason, this bike can pedal surprisingly well. I've kind of found that with some older bikes, and I don't really know why. It's quite interesting. It does pedal pretty good. I'm just like sitting down in the seat, just like a chopper. All right, my bros.
Freeride.
Try a bit of Charlie's Canned Chicken here. Try some downhill. Okay, my brakes are definitely something I want to get better. Boom. Okay, Wes.
Boom.
Let's freaking boost it up. They trimmed this all nice. It's like sick looking. Woo! Oh, heck yeah, buddy! Woo! Yeah! Yo, it's so freaking chill. Yo, wrong way. Yo, that's not the trail.
We can't see the trail, man.
Let's try this again. I did it better the first time because I didn't crash in the tree.
You're hauling ass down there.
Thanks. Let's try more trail. Let's see what's... Okay, my rear wheel is like drifting. Okay. Okay. Wow. Yo. Yo. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yo.
I was drifting, dude. And I feel like even my front's kind of like drifting because the head angle is just too slack anyway. I'm gonna take some air out of the front tire. Got about 16 PSI in the front, 25 PSI in the rear. Normally I would never dare go that low in the front, but because it's such a fat tire, you can totally get away with it. All right, we're gonna do some Charlie's canned chicken here. Yo. Ha. Whoa, sick. Whoa, wow. I almost drifted out there. Yeah. I'd never actually ridden this.
Just flat.
Okay. That was the first time ever doing that. I got more compression out of the suspension, I think. Yeah. It does have a little bit of like an awkward feel. Obviously, it's just so like unbalanced and like slack.
What the heck was that? I tried to jump it.
I thought you were gonna nail the tree, dude.
That's a good drop, man.
That was pretty sick, like flat landing. That looks like something I definitely want to do with this fork, but when I put it on the proper frame, that is. I'm not interested in ripping the head tube off of this thing. Some flowy bench cut. Oh, that was my brakes. Okay. Yo. Woo. Oh. Wow. I had to be careful there because I know that my brakes aren't the greatest there. That's actually pretty sick. It's also my first time riding this section of trail, so it's a bit blind for me, but it is really fun. Whoa! That was fun. What is this? That was pretty fun.
I actually was having so much fun. I zoned out and I kept going. That was sick. That was so quick.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not feeling the greatest traction though. Like, I don't know, even though the front tire is so like big and fat, I don't know if it's like the slack head angle, I don't know, just with the tire being so far away from me. Now, just imagine if I have new high quality brakes, new reliable tires, if I am able to get a proper head tube angle, I'm telling you guys, I think there's a lot of potential here. And we haven't even ridden gnarly trails yet. Just imagine what the suspension can do on the rough stuff. Seriously, call me crazy, but I really think there's a lot of potential here, and I intend on exploring all that we can do with this fork. That's the end. Trying this finishing again. It was so fun. All right, let's freaking do it. So sick. I am not using my travel at all. I don't know, maybe 10 inches. Like, that was so much fun. Okay, dropping in. Obviously, it was a very unique ride, and the bike is not meant to have a Supermonster on it. So my goal, of course, is to get a bike working with the Supermonster so it's not so slack and so it actually works. And I'm here to announce to you guys, I have since found and purchased something that I believe is going to work with this fork and produce a proper head tube angle. It should be pretty balanced, unlike how the RM9 was shaped. Super front heavy. You'll be seeing all this in my next video as we start my epic monster bike build. I'm basically going to be building up the kind of bike that I've only ever dreamed of. I am so excited about this. What a ride.
I also think like as soon as you replace the brakes, because you were going so fast on it, that like once you have that like extra confidence, you can probably rip on that thing.
Trust me, we're going to be doing a lot more than just new brakes. Well, I'm glad I had that experience. But now that I've tried this out, it's time to start on my big monster bike project. Yes, you look so good, dude. Yeah, man.
So much fun.
Yeah, you look sick. Well, my friends are really stoked. They're maybe a bit jealous of me as well, but we're all just super stoked about this whole project. We cannot wait until this is ready to go. So that's the one and only time I'm going to be riding with this fork on the RM9. Eventually, I'd like to put a proper 8-inch fork on this bike and then actually ride that. Maybe do some comparisons with my Maiden, since they're 18 years apart, same brand and everything, both downhill freeride bikes. I'd love to hear some of you guys' thoughts, what you guys would like to see. But otherwise, for now, I'm just much more focused on using this Supermonster. So I'm taking it off now and getting it ready to put on the new frame that I'd bought a bit ago. What would you guys like to see the Supermonster on? I know it would be really funny to see it on some of my modern bikes, but I'm also not interested in ripping the head tubes off of those frames though, so maybe not. I was saying before, I think there's a lot of potential with this fork, and I want to have a lot of fun with this. Not just once for a fun joke video. I hope you guys will join me in my next video as we start this epic, insane monster bike build. I have to give a big shout out to my patrons because they're such an awesome sponsor for my channel, and they're the ones really allowing me to do fun projects like this. They're keeping me free. I mean, just imagine if I was sponsored by all sorts of companies, there's no way I could do something crazy like this. But this is what I really want to do, and my patrons are really making that happen. So thank you guys so much. You also get some perks like extended cuts, naming the credits, stickers, cool stuff like that. So go check out my Patreon page, and I'll see you guys next time.